right? Australians don't exist
Right.
on screen. Somehow we're all over the world, but we never appear in movies.
People, remember what you did.
Wish I knew what you were looking for. Might have known what you would want.
How are you, Eric?
I'm good, Brad. How you going?
Yeah, good, mate. Mate, this movie, The Drought, I didn't really know what I was getting, and then a few minutes in, I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a murder mystery, and then all of a sudden it slaps you around the head.
I was a huge fan of the source material, the book by Jane Harper called The Dry, with the same name, and she did just the most amazing job of writing this really tense, taut thriller that happened to be set in a regional country town in Victoria, where I live here. So I felt an emotional connection straight away as a result, and her depiction of country rural Australia was so incredible and such an essential character and element in the story.
It just gives a different take on what Australia can look like.
There's been plenty of depictions of kind of like the outback, full of like broad caricature type characters, and this is the opposite. This is the Australia that us Australians relate to, these little country towns that we visit or travel through to get from point A to point B. And so that's a reality of rural Australia. And we really did a lot of work to accurately depict that from the book, in terms of the casting, all the locations, how we shot the film. So it is a deliberate thing for sure.
Well, you made me homesick. I love the pub scenes. I love the cold beer.
Absolutely. I mean, if there's one thing you can guarantee your audience is, they can't travel to Australia right now, but at the end of this film, they are going to feel like they just spent 2 hours in Australia. Yeah. I mean, there is no more accurate depiction of what you would experience if you travel to Australia than this film. There's no doubt about it.
Amazing career you've had. I got to America when you were just probably entering America, and it was fun for me to see you pop up, Chopper, and then the Hulk, and of course Troy. When I see you in this film, I'm like, geez, this is great. I've got an Eric Bana film. Have you found fans coming, from your past, from maybe that decade in the O's, going, oh, geez, great. We get Eric back on the big screen again.
It's not easy to find projects like these in Australia. Like the last Australian film I did was about 12 years ago, Romulus, My Father, in which I played a Hungarian migrant. So I don't often get to play Australian. I mean, as you know, we're never allowed to be Australian on screen in any film, right? Australians don't exist on screen. Somehow we're all over the world, but we never appear in movies, right? So it was great to be to play in an Australian production, and then have the film turn into this monster hit down here in Australia. For some reason, it struck a chord, and people just went crazy for the film. And we opened in the middle of a pandemic on January 1, and it was a hit straight away. And even with restrictions on here, it still turned into one of the biggest films of all time, which is a huge thrill for us.
It's incredible. On the Aussie note, I love over your career you managed to shoehorn an Aussie character into Funny People with Judd Apatow and Adam Sandler. How'd you pull that off?
The character was written as American. Right. And when Judd approached me and I read the script, I said, look, for what it's worth, I said, I can just make him funnier and more interesting if he's Australian. Yeah. There's things that I'll be able to bring to him that I know will be more interesting. And Judd was open to it. He's like, if it's going to make the character better, let's just do it. So it's the only time I've gotten away with that. A little bit harder playing Hector of Troy, of course, but...
Well, you got to tell you though, Hector, I still think you were robbed. Hector, you were like the Jeff Fennick of fight scenes, because you should have beaten Brad Pitt in Troy. You had him on the ropes. What happened there?
I think we need a director's cut. There was an extra scene. Let me tell you, there was an alternate version. It was a cheap shot too, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was a
terrible.
cheap shot.
Yeah, and I think that good. The ladies were crying for you though, which I thought was good.
You do what you got to do. Sometimes you can't change the course of history.
The Saints, how you going? Just for St Kilda Football Club, your beloved football club, Aussie rules team, got out of trouble last week. You're even 4-4.
We've got a massive game on tomorrow night against the Cats, so they're coming off a big win, and they'll be feeling very cocky. And hopefully they'll be ripe for the picking. So we'll see what happens tomorrow night. I'll be there, and anything can happen. But no pressure on us tomorrow night, which is nice.
Yeah. Then you got my team Bulldogs the following week.
After.
Yeah, we were going. You actually said it to me 5 years ago. You go, Brad, your team's pretty good. You go, the Bulldogs are good, and that was like June 2015, and a year later, mate.
I was born in 1968. My team last won the championship in 1966. And this is a team I go every week to watch. So there's a lot of, and Brad's team won after a huge drought back in 2000. Was it 16 or 17?
Yeah, 16,
so I still haven't experienced it. My brother's a Melbourne supporter, so we're both in the same camp. He also has never seen his side win a flag. So anyway, that's it's character building.
It's good to see Eric a bit depressed. Well done, mate. No, you'll be right. In final words, do you think the audiences will be shaken when they see this movie, The Dry?
Yeah, it's a really entertaining film, and it also packs a bit of an emotional punch as well, which a lot of people aren't expecting there towards the end. But it's one of the reasons I wanted to get involved in the film. And these films don't always have that kind of emotional edge to them. So yeah, it was an amazing film to make, and let's hope your audience gets onto it.
Great, mate. All right, I'll see you on the streets of New York City again one day.
I hope.
Yeah.
Cheers, Brad. Thanks, mate.